So I'm scrolling through, I'm thinking, oh, maybe there'll be some, something in there we haven't really thought about, we haven't really seen this morning. This is what was on things that were on the transfer deal sheet this morning. First of all, brace yourselves, guys, okay? So the Athletic saying, Manchester United have been offered the chance to sign several free agents, namely Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jamie Vardy, and Callum Wilson. It is expected, though, that United would only advance on these, if at all, towards the end of the window if they do not get any of their top targets. Now, in addition to that, and this one is quite significant as well, the Athletic are also saying Manchester United have been keeping tabs on Fiorentina's Moises Kean, who has a €52 million release clause that can be triggered until the 15th of July. Manchester United are the Premier League club to have shown the most interest in the 25-year-old, who also has interest from the Saudi Pro League. Some people think he's going to leave because Fiorentina have signed Edin Dzeko, but apparently this was not part of his succession plan. Dzeko was just signed because he offers something different than Keane up front. So they're like two other names we've been linked to, or two, groups, stories, whatever. And obviously that free agent one, like they said in the chat here, rage bait. It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones.
You're trying to piss me off on purpose, so I respond. Rage bait.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where it's like there probably is an element of truth in that story, because naturally, if your client has, he's not with a club, just left Premier League club, which is the case of Calvert-Lewin, Wilson, Vardy, they just pick up the phone, don't they? Pick up the phone and they start going around. Hey, he's a free agent. He's, you come in or what have you. But this is when I go back to, because we're getting twitchy and because we're getting things are moving a bit slowly. It's on another level, isn't it? If we put it this way, if we'd signed Cunha and Bumo and we were talking to another high profile striker at the moment, you'd be like, you know what, actually, Callum Wilson maybe as a backup off the bench. He was doing that for Newcastle. He gets injured a lot, but he was doing that for Newcastle. Yeah, wait, James last night was going, Jamie Vardy, you know what, off the bench, couple of games here and there, maybe throw him on. Even Calvert-Lewin, if the deal was right, back up, not long, 1 year deal, whatever. But it's because we've got no striker at the moment,
and they might be the striker.
And we don't know who the striker is going to be for us this summer still. Gyökeres off the table, Jonathan David off the table, Osimhen off the table, Šeško, we weren't even linked to him really that much in the first place. I don't know what's happened with him. So that last bit where it says they would only consider them if at all, if at the end of the window they hadn't got their primary striker target. But right now we're like, who is the primary striker target? We don't know. Is it Watkins? Maybe. I don't know. So that sort of bit of the contingency of, only at the end of the window, nothing happened. That feels like a very real possibility, doesn't it? Which is that's the worry. That's the concern.
It does, and that's the thing. To be fair, I'm actually in a good mood today. Maybe my endorphins are around. Are doing well because paddle last night and the release that I had, it was great.
Yes.
But I do feel like we do have to be careful with where we are now, because hear me out on this. We'll start to get exploited as Man United fans. That's what's going to happen. And I mean emotionally, because in the media, there's facts and there's things that ain't quite right. We know we are absolutely struggling and everyone knows how much players we need. So we're very temperamental and we haven't seen much options. Obviously, free agents are going to shop their players around and Man United are desperate and don't have that much money. So yes, cool. An agent of Callum Wilson's would say, fancy Callum? If you don't, what do you reckon? He's willing to take, not that much money. Just wanted to let you know. Jamie Vardy's agent.
Sure, you're going
to get calls. You're going to get calls every day. And what I think we need to be careful of, which does happen every year, to be fair, we confuse the two or mix the two together because half of it is true and a lot of it isn't, is basically going, we're gonna go ape shit at the club for people offering people to them. They haven't accepted it. You can get offered anything all the time. That doesn't mean that's not indicative of the work you're doing. That's just indicative of free agents looking for a club being offered to you. We can go mad, or I can speak for me. I will only go mad. The Calvert-Lewin one, I was a bit annoyed the other day. Because in fact, that's the example I'm talking about, right? It's not. That was sort of the rumors were saying Man United are looking at that. This is saying Man United have been offered. So I'm not, even though you might say Calvert-Lewin is angry, because I was reading reports and they got in my head, that was rage bait of like, you lot are actually trying to look at that. That better be false. If you dare try to look at that. I can't really have the same energy for agent offers United a player. Like that's happens millions and millions of times. And also they need to drum up interest in their players and stuff. That's the game's the game. Unless we're in talks to sign or advanced talks or we're looking at, then you got to take that with a pinch of salt. We can't go mad, can't cuss out the club completely, like just go mad, lose our shit over a report that said these players have been offered to Man United. Players get offered to Man United all the time.
Yeah, like I said, they do get offered all the time. I think, like you were sort of saying, that sort of outrage or frustration you had the other day is, once again, it's based off, I think, just the pace in which this window's happening, which is slow. And also, naturally, you do look at other clubs, and granted, they're in different positions than us, and context is different, but how can it not leave a sour taste in your mouth? Where it's like Arsenal are linked with here we go for Gyökeres very soon, and we're linked with Jamie Vardy.
Exactly. It's more, and that's the thing that gets you angry, rather than
you're like
thinking he's been offered to us. That doesn't mean when you get him, you go no. We still
just see the names. You just see the names,
and then associate someone else. And listen, part of that is true. You can't completely disregard that because it does show you where you are versus where they are. Mm. You know what I mean? So that is true, but we still have to be realistic about where we are. We're not. Jamie Vardy is not prime target. We're not trying to negotiate for Jamie Vardy. We're not trying to negotiate as it stands for Callum Wilson. It better remain as that. It better remain as that. But if we got Ollie Watkins, and Mbeumo, and then you said Callum Wilson's just there as that because you kept Xerxes as well. And Rasmus maybe left, and he said, you just got Callum Wilson. We don't have much money, but you gave him a 1-year deal, pay as you play or whatever, low money. You'd go, well, you know what? There's Watkins and Xerxes ahead of Wilson. You can bring him on for 10 minutes here or there. It's one game a week as well. He's not going to play that much. Yeah. That makes sense. Or, you're not going to get really laughed at for that. You go, Callum Wilson. Sometimes there is opportunities in the free market where you go, tell you what, no one ever thought that. He chipped him with 8 goals last year. Didn't really expect that.
If it was like you said, last day of the window, we've already done, we've got a brand new front three anyway. Like I said, let's say it's hypothetically Watkins and Mbeumo, Cunha, and you still got, like you said, Xerxes and others on the pitch. Okay, he's got options. Maybe could need another one because I still don't want to be, the sort of, don't want to have Cheeto coming on. It's still a bit early, for that. We just kind of need someone to sit on the bench for most of the season because, again, it's one game a week. You go, all right, and bring
an experienced striker to help Cheeto and help them guys.
Or bring in, Jamie Vardy as like he's good to have around the dressing room kind of vibe, or so whatever. I don't know. And so I wouldn't be opposed to that, but a lot's got to happen first for that bit to be.
That's what I'm saying,
and I just don't know when or if that's going to happen. That's the worry. And naturally, of course, when you do go down, as you're putting on the screen right now, when you go down that route of, well, this is the scenario in which it could work. So you're saying, Fleck, you want Callum Wilson as the number 9 for Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Which is not the case.
I'm not. And listen, some people's opinion could be under, I don't care what the case is, under any circumstances possible. We're trying to get back. There is no place for someone like Callum Wilson, Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Jamie Vardy at this club right now. I don't care how low we are.
And
not even lead it. Not even lead it. Just be part of the squad. That's just not what we should be doing. And listen, if someone makes that case, I do hear that you could say that's just what we're doing. But you sometimes do have to open up your mind to different scenarios, considering the situation you're in.